Talking with Drew earlier, Jerry mentioned on Facebook something about having some brew.
Yeah.
So I think he's on that. Oh, he's right there. No.
Yeah.
We'll have to see. I have a feeling he'll be on camera at some point today.
Yeah, I would imagine so. Especially he is 1-0 currently. See if we can get him on the camera right now. Maybe we'll see what happens with that feature match. Regardless of who we get, it's gonna be a good feature match.
Ollie's feature match might be real interesting. I think he might be playing something with Grand Architect, maybe some boots. We'll see.
The boots, the Swiftfoot boots. Now that's a card. Obviously, Lightning Greaves is a very popular casual card.
Yeah.
Swiftfoot boots this time around, though, we have a lot of things that interact with equipment.
Yeah.
A lot of cool things you can do. We were talking about it earlier. You think that card could be a big player?
I don't know necessarily big, but it's the kind of card that we'll see play, and I think that it started at like $5, it went down to about $3. I think it's gonna go back up once people start realizing maybe we want this boots to put on our Pure Steel Paladin so it doesn't die, or put on our Grand Architect so it doesn't die, or to put on our Kuldotha Forge Master, which gets a Blightsteel, which then has haste and kills them. We were testing some kind of mono blue Architect deck, and you just have this natural curve of like you play boots on 2, you play or a 2-drop on 2, like just a creature. You play Architect on 3, and that taps for the boots on 3, and then on your next turn you just have mana, so you can go Forge Master, equip with boots, sack, put Darksteel or Blightsteel in play, and attack. You can kill me
On the same turn, yeah. I mean, that's certainly pretty neat. That's something that could be right up Aintrazi's alley.
Yeah, especially if your 2-drop is Spellskite, you can also cast that off the Architect, and then you still have mana for. It costs 7 to go Forge Master, equip, and when you turn what's it called? When you turn Spellskite blue, it taps for 2 mana. That's the extra 1. That's exactly 7.
Huh. Interesting. Well, be curious if that pops up. Sounds pretty potent. You're right. The boots with Kuldotha Forge Master is really, really powerful.
That was a deck that was really close to doing well in block, and I think the only reason it didn't was because maybe the same reason it won't see that much play later on in Standard, which is Tempered Steel draws a lot of hate in that kind of splashed it up against it.
Right. Yeah, block was really interesting because everyone had Divine Offerings, everybody had, Steel Sabotage. Just the playing cards like Birthing Pod was just hard to do because they would just die.
Or like Phyrex, all these, some of the Steel decks had Phyrexian Revokers to begin with, and that was miserable. You would never beat that card. They'd Revoker your Architect, they'd Revoker actually anything you played, and you'd lose. It was really bad.
Man, yeah, it should be interesting to see if these new archetypes play out. I really love all the cool things we have going on in this new format. I think with banning Jace and Mystic, a lot of neat decks will get the time to shine. We'll see what rises to the top this weekend here at SCGCIN in Cincinnati.
I believe we just got a deck name suggestion for this Architect deck. The boots with the fur.
Oh man, I do love the boots. Yeah. All right, so the round is starting. We should be going to our match shortly, and we'll be able to have the deck list too and see what some of these great names are playing here at the Open Series. No more buys. Players have to play it early, so these guys are competing already. Some of the big names on the circuit.
Makes things a bit more interesting, I think.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they got to fight through the first couple of rounds. We already saw Drew Levin take a loss in the first round.
Oh yeah. Before there were arguments, is it harder to top 8 at SCG Open with 2 buys, or is it harder to 4-0 Moto daily? Now it's definitely in the favor of the SCG Opens on that difficulty scale.
I mean, these events are not easy.
They are. It's a grind, especially once they start getting to 9-10 rounds. You really have to put in good play with a consistent deck all day to get there.
Right. I mean, harder than a PTQ, and PTQs are already pretty hard.
PTQs are really hard nowadays. PTQs are really hard.
Yeah, I mean, the last PTQ you had to play in was your Shards of Larblock PTQ, right?
Yeah. I was, I played in a few PTQs through the years before that. I really started putting work in, and then just won one, and then since then I've played in a bunch, just done miserably in all of them. It's really hard. You have to have, I only won that one because it was release weekend and no one understood how the Exalted mechanic worked. So my deck had 13 Exalted creatures, and I was attacking with these 7/8 tramples or these Wave Skimmer Ravens, and people were just like, "How did you get that card? What's this card even do? I passed that 11th. Why is that here? Why is that in your deck?"
Sure. Yeah, interesting draft format. And in a limited PTQ season, knowing how to draft is really the big thing, because once you make top 8, that's what it's all about.
Oh, yeah. And there's also a big distinction between knowing how to draft, and there's a distinction between Grand Prix or Pro Tour or team drafting, where you just want a deck that's solid and puts up the best record. And there's these points where maybe the second draft of a Grand Prix, you look at your pod and you're like, I have to 3-0 to top 8. I want to draft a 3-0 deck. You get the top 8 of PTQ, it's I 2-1 and that's worthless. That doesn't mean anything. I want a 3-0 deck.
Right.
And you really have to make that distinction, and
You need to have someone with the best deck at the table, or at least a very powerful deck.
Yeah.
And I feel like we're going to see that similar thing with M12. I think players are still figuring it out. And we have not only the draft opens here at the Star City Open Series, but we've got nationals coming up all around the world. Like Japanese nationals going on right now.
Yep.
U.S. nationals in 3 weeks?
Okay, I don't know
4 weeks?
second, but we'll need them.
At Gen Con. I don't know when that is, but whenever Gen Con is, that's
next
where
weekend, it starts the games in Seattle. 3 weeks from now is nationals.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, wow. I should figure that out.
So, nationals coming up soon in the U.S. Nationals around the world already happening. Grand Prix is going on with M12 Limited soon. So, it's going to be very important.
I believe the North American one is Grand Prix Montreal.
That sounds about right, yeah.
Yeah, that's in September. I think that might be Innistrad already, though.
Are you going to Montreal?
Unfortunately, I'm not. I have some family events, but no, I'm not the biggest fan of core sets sealed. I think that, no matter how hard you try in the draft format, the core set sealed format, they're still a little bit off on. I don't know what it is yet. It's just there's not enough synergies to really combat the bombs. And even in Scars, in just sealed in general, you have a lot of bombs that occur, and you have to play through the rounds. You're like, oh, I'm 7-1. Next round, my opponent's gonna have a Planeswalker, and I already know it.
I actually like core set sealed a lot for saying a Magic Online daily event or purelease or something like that, because when you're fighting against decks on a relative similar skill level for the first 6 rounds of a Grand Prix, it's fine. But once you hit you're right, once you hit the 7, 8, 9-0 decks, it's gonna be rough. Of course, that's true for almost any Grand Prix where you're gonna have bomb decks.
Match is Aintrazi versus BJ Bressler.
Awesome.
Well, it looks like Ollie has chosen to not go with the Grand Architect Brewers and is playing a pretty stock Valakut list. It looks like he's got a
stock. This is your idea of a stock Valakut list?
I see 4 Solemn. Some Urbrask is something that I've been seeing a lot more lately.
Okay. I mean, I love an Urbrask.
Yeah. He has Green Sun Zenith and not Summoning Trap, and it looks like his quirks are he has Birds of Paradise instead of the typical Jiraga Tree Speaker, which a bit more reliable, a bit less of I have to sink mana into this beyond that and just hope that it doesn't die in response, which probably is good with all the red decks around. He's got a couple Beast Withins in the main, some Slag Storms, which I've seen a lot of.
Yeah, Slag Storm is good.
He has, the mana base looks pretty typical, 28 lands. He's playing 61 cards in the main. He has, is that a 4 on that Thrun? Or
I think that's a 1.
Yeah, I think that's a 1. The Summoning Traps are out of the sideboard, I guess. And his post-board Green Sun Zenith targets include a Terrastodon. He actually showed up with a Creeping Corrosion. And even just one, but
just in case of emergencies, break the Creeping Corrosion glass.
Yep.
On the other hand, we've got BJ Bressler running the deck we were talking about, the Tempered Steel deck.
Yeah, it looks like he's playing the blue version, which splashes for preordain. He also has Origin Spell on, which is interesting. Usually I think it's one or the other. He doesn't have Porcelain Legionnaire, so he's a bit short on the 2-drops to curve out with. But
so the blue in the main deck is just for preordain, 3 preordains. That's interesting.
Oh, it looks like BJ is going to be on the play, and both players are going down to 5 cards.
All right. Well, I think going down to 5 cards, it definitely favors the Tempered Steel player.
I don't know about that actually. The Tempered Steel deck isn't necessarily that resilient to mulligans.
I mean, now there's Valakut deck, but I agree. So it looks like Ali's hand is 4 lands, Solemn, Inferno Titan.
No, it's an Urbrask. There's no Inferno Titans.
Oh, sorry, or Urbrask rather.
Yeah.
While BJ's got Origin Spellbomb, Inkmoth Nexus, Seachrome Coast, nothing.
Ollie cracks his Terramorphic that he played on 1 for a Forest. That was a good draw there. He didn't have it in his opener.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
And I'll give him the green mana he needs in case he draws a ramp spell. And if he draws, say, a Rampant Growth here, he could easily just go Growth, Solemn.
Draw a Titan off the top, Just the everyday usuals.
That's how it's done. All right, we'll see what he draws.
It's a Titan.
There's
wrong
the Titan.
order, probably.
All right, so BJ's going to crack that Origin Spellbomb, draw a card, get a 1/1 Mirror token.
Yep.
Now, Origin Spellbomb card that sees a lot of slinging on the limited draft tables, but making a constructed appearance here in the Tempered Steel deck.
It didn't really see too much play at the Pro Tour, but I think that once your deck starts becoming how consistently can I find these Steel Overseers and Tempered Steels, it gets a lot better.
Right. Yeah. I mean, being able to find Tempered Steel is pretty important, and that certainly helps out a lot.
Ollie goes to 19 from that Muir hit, and it looks like BJ didn't really have a play on turn 3. just passed after playing another Seachrome Coast.
Yeah. Ali draws Valakut, plays it, and passes. And then he's going to go for Solemn next turn, which will ramp him into Titan the turn after. So BJ needs to get his clock going here if he wants to have a shot. Spellskite, not what he's looking for.
I wonder why he didn't attack with the Nexus last turn. He's attacking with Nexus and a Mirror Token right now.
All right.
Puts Ali to 1 poison, 18. And the 1 poison is pretty key because 3 Nexus hits with the Tempered Steel only adds up to 9.
Right. So here comes Solemn for Ali.
I think it's going to get a Mountain to go with his 2 Forest Mountain Valakut.
Yep, so Ali Aintrazi getting his 3rd Mountain, setting up to cast Primeval Titan next turn. BJ needs something strong here. He's, for example, Tempered Steel.
Looks like he's got, well, I can see a Glacial Fortress, but his other 4 cards probably aren't that great given what he's been playing so far.
Yeah, he's not had very good draw.
Glacial Fortress is going to activate Inkmoth Nexus, serving in for the 2nd poison.
Yep, so Ali on 2 poison now. Going to tap some mana, looks like, maybe cast something. Let's see what he's going to do. Memnite.
And a Mox Opal.
All right. So BJ's got plenty of mana. But all he's going to have are Primeval Titan, which is bad news for BJ Bressler.
Yep.
All right, so there's Primeval Titan.
Dispatch with a trigger on the stack.
Get it out of there, says BJ. So BJ does have the answer in the sense that he can dispatch it. Granted, Ali's going to get 2 more mountains.
Or a Mountain and a Valakut, depending on what he has in hand.
Or Mountain and Valakut.
Depending on how fast he thinks he needs these Valakuts to get active.
All right, so he goes for Mountain Valakut.
Yeah, the one interesting thing about this blue splash list is that you actually have the mana all the time to activate the Spellskite. So you're not always paying the 2 life for tapping a Mox Opal.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
That is pretty interesting.
Yeah. So that Spellskite might eat some mountains pretty soon.
Indeed. So BJ draws a card. Has plenty of lands. Looks like he's probably going to serve in here with at least that Nexus.
Maybe with that Spellskite too. Who knows?
Don't know if we'll be seeing that one.
No.
Unless this drew Tempered Steel, in which case
he wouldn't be thinking that long about this Tempers.
All right, serves in for 1.
3 poison.
Ali sitting on 3 poison counters.
That 1 missed poison might be a huge issue this game. Oh, that's another Titan off the top, I think.
Uh-oh. 4. Well, Ali's thinking, he's like, does he have a counter spell?
Do you maybe want to play Urabrosk first so it can... Oh, just
nope.
Putting down the Titan and
BJ looks pretty resigned to his fate here.
This looks pretty much over.
All right, so...
Gets 4 Valakut triggers.
Did you just send them all at BJ here?
No. You have to do something about the Spellskite, I think. Like, you kill the Spellskite now, and I think he just takes... Is that another Titan in Ali's hand? Yeah, this is very finished, I think.
Alright, looks like BJ is tapping some mana. And he's redirecting 2 of them to Spellskite.
I think Ali went 2 to the Spellskite, 2 to the face, and BJ decided to put them all in the 0-4.
Okay.
It's like Solemn Simulacrum's getting in for 2.
Alright, so BJ taking hit down to 18, which is surprisingly relevant with those Valakuts.
Well, the other thing is, next turn, oh yeah, Ali has mana to actually cast Urabrosk and Primeval Titan next turn, so BJ, I don't even know what he's going to do about here. It's
I don't know
like
what
it's pretty
he
much over.
Well, he's got 2 cards. Let's see what he's... maybe if he's got some insane action, but I'm pretty sure if he had a dispatch...
I guess he's down to 6 life already. That was 6 damage from that mountain and 2 from the Solemn.
Yep. Yeah. All right. Yeah. BJ packs him in. Poor draw for both players, but Ali had the right card.
Many Primeval Titans.
Yes. For mulliganing down to 5 cards, that was pretty good.
Okay, so looking at the sideboard, BJ Bressler has a card that we're both pretty familiar with to bring in, Unified Will.
Unified Will. Very nice card.
Oh, yeah.
Only 2 copies, though. A little disappointing.
Yeah, he's got Active Aggression. Definitely wants that one.
Yeah, I mean, cards are coming in are definitely Active Aggression and Unified Will.
I don't think a Johnny's good enough.
I don't think a Johnny's good enough. But I'm really surprised he only has 2 Unified Wills. This seems like the best card to have.
Yeah, he probably brings in this Dismember. You need to kill like the Overgrown Battlements and all those guys. And also, you can swing with your guys into a Primeval Titan with little fear off a Dismember and actually kill it. You know, they often have to just block with their Titan and not die.
Right, right.
I don't think Firewalker comes in. I don't think that really helps you in any way.
No, I agree.
And then on Ollie's side, it looks like we have some Nature's Claims, maybe some Obstinate Balos, and then another Slag Storm, a Creeping Corrosion, and Acidic Slime.
So what do you think these players are going to be boarding at? We talked about what they were going to bring in. Let's look at BJ's deck first. So if BJ's going to bring in 3 Active Aggression and 2 Unified Will, maybe the Dismember you were saying, so that's 6 cards?
Maybe, you know, cut down a couple Origin Spell Bombs that are a little slow. Maybe some Spell Skies, they don't really attack well. You could probably cut Preordains. I don't really know how many lands are in the deck right now. There's 12. Ooh, there's not that many lands. Maybe you can't cut that many Preordains, but, you know, again, it's not something that actively affects the board, and you just really need to Goldfish them, I think.
Right. Yeah, I mean, Spellscape doesn't seem very effective in this matchup.
No.
I mean, best case, it gets pumped up, but...
You still need a fair amount of creatures, though. Like,
right.
BJ's deck has Overgrown Battlements and Solemns and stuff. You need to actually have 2 or 3 creatures in play to make sure these Unified will stick.
Yeah, I know, for sure. Especially when you have cards like Glinthawk Idol, too, which aren't even creatures on your opponent's turn.
You have to animate them, and then, yeah.
Yeah, and then bad things can happen.
You know, suddenly you've got a 3-mana counterspell instead of a 2-mana counterspell, and, like, you may as well be playing Cancel.
Right. On the flip side, looking at Ollie's deck...
This Oracle's going to go for sure. Urabrosk might not be necessary. Because you're just looking to go, you know, 2/4/6. You don't really have time for Urabrosk, which is only really good against like these sorcery speed removal decks, I think, or in the mirror, because it puts their Titan into play tapped.
Right.
Maybe a Green Sun Zenith, maybe a Beast Within come out, maybe Avengers probably not that great because of all the flying creatures and Signal Pass.
Beast Within seemed like a pretty nice one against Tempered Seal. That's one of the main ways you're going to lose.
Yeah. I can see cutting some Solemns. They're not the best. They're a little slow.
Sure. It seems like Ollie's probably main game plan is just to accelerate and just do what Valka wants to do normally. I don't think you want to mess with it too much.
No.
Just play Primeval Titan and do your thing. So I imagine we'll see probably not huge changes by Ollie. Like
they're a linear deck, you're a linear deck. There's not that much interaction. You just want to Goldfish.
Right. So whoever's going to kill the other first.
Yeah.
Who do you think has the advantage in this matchup, though?
You know, I've played it, and I honestly have no idea. I think the Tempered Steel deck's a little faster, but the sweepers out of the Valka deck are pretty huge.
Yeah, the sweepers make a big difference.
And it doesn't look like BJ Bressler has any refraction paths for them at all. Though I don't know if that card's necessarily good here. It's probably really good against the mono red decks because they're just always going to cast a burn spell. But
yeah, Refraction Trap is a card we had out of the Tempered Steel sideboard. And we mainly wanted it against mono red decks. Though.
You were mono white though, right?
We were mono white, right? Yeah. The blue splash changes things. I think if you're going to go blue, you really want all the Unified Wills you can find. But
that's interesting. BJ has one contested Warzone in his main deck.
Yeah, I'm wondering if maybe he just wanted to play another land or something and was like, oh, I'll play this one Warzone.
Yeah. Let's see. I don't know. The blue-white list just looks a little short on real bodies to make it necessarily what I'm looking to have in this deck if I was going to play it. You want things. I think you want things like Porcelain Legionnaire just so you can, attack them for a reasonable amount without needing a Steel Overseer.
Yeah, I mean, I always felt like Porcelain Legionnaire is one of the scariest cards this deck could play. I mean, a 3/1 for 2 is with first strike.
It definitely lost its edge in block once people started playing a bunch of Viridian Emissaries, but I think in this format, the blockers are these 0-4 walls like Overgrown Battlement. They don't really want to be throwing those away, and it's really easy to get it to a 4 with just a Signal Pest hit or anything.
Steel Overseer.
Yeah. And so the one damage loss to go to like a Spine Thopter or a Revoker is probably pretty relevant.
Yeah. Huh. Interesting. Interesting to see how the players sideboard going into game 2. BJ Bressler lost the first game to Aintrazi, but see if he'll be able to reclaim his second one.
There also might be room to put in Summoning Trap, just as a couple more Titans.
Yeah, I mean, once again, if all I want to do is
also
be super
with
linear.
He saw the blue. He might be thinking Mana League or Unified Will too.
Exactly. I mean, I'm sure if you think if they have blue, you're thinking probably some kind of counter magic.
Yeah.
All right. Looks like players are drawing the opening 7s here. All right. We see what's in these opening
BJ
hands.
looks like he's keeping, and Ollie goes into the tank. Also keeping.
Play Ollie as used to. All right. So BJ leads on Inkmoth Nexus, pass.
Ollie looks like he has a Birds of Paradise in his hand, but leads on a Terramorphic Expanse because I don't think he has a forest to play it.
He's got Overgrown Battlement there. A couple Valakuts.
Some red card. BJ has a Glinthawk Idol on turn 2.
Okay.
Not a lot of pressure this game, but you don't really need it. That deck goes from 0 to 20 real fast.
Yeah. Especially once again, I haven't seen BJ's hand, but if he has Tempered Steel, things get out of hand, especially with that Inkmoth Nexus.
And that Glinthawk. Both that Inkmoth Nexus and that Glinthawk Idol dodge Slagstorm.
Yes.
It's pretty bad. And it looks like Ollie's Creeping Corrosion is still in his deck right now, so it's not ready to kill any Glinthawk Idols anytime soon.
Yeah, exactly.
Ollie untaps. He also has a Rampant Growth in his hand.
Yeah. I think he's got Overgrown Battlement, which is likely...
There's the Texas card, the Rampant Growth.
Yeah. Oh, no, he does have Rampant Growth. So do you think you go for growth?
I think you go for Rampant Growth.
Okay.
I don't think you want to get it randomly dispatched, and it looks like Ollie agrees.
You also have nothing to block right now. Maybe you want BJ to play like a Porcelain Legionnaire or something, and then drop out your Overgrown Battlement.
So back to BJ's turn.
Let's see what. All right, so BJ plays a second Inkmoth Nexus.
And a Steel Overseer.
Oh boy. Serves in with that Glinthawk Idol.
Yep.
If BJ has another land, that means he can serve in for 4 poison next turn.
Oh yeah. And then it's 6 next turn after that.
And that's 4 plus 6 is conveniently the number 10.
Looks like Ollie only has 2 Valakuts for lands in his hand,
Yeah, so he cannot play that
Solemn Simulacrum. He's gonna play Overgrown Battlement and not the Birds of Paradise. He got a Mountain last turn off the Rampant Growth. Probably just looking to get to Valakut activations as soon as possible so we can start wiping the board as soon as Titan hits play.
Yeah, so Ollie has to draw an untapped land to be able to play Primeval Titan next turn. Now, if BJ has the land, I'm pretty sure that the best play here has got to be serve with both Inkmoth Nexus, double up with Steel Overseer.
But then you don't get to activate the Glinthawk Idol. So there might be a debate over whether you want to go for actual damage or not.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like killing them next turn is so good.
Yeah, but that also involves the Steel Overseer living,
Right.
and there could be a Slagstorm, there could be anything waiting. He's going to animate the Glinthawk Idol. Attack for... He's thinking about whether he wants to activate his Nexuses first, I think.
Alright, so he looks like he's going to activate both Nexi.
Put a counter on everything.
Alright, so Steel Overseer activates, and the M11 rare gives every artifact creature you control a +1/+1 counter. So that's 3 counters, 1 to each of those. BJ, for those who don't caught what he did there, he just activated the Nexus to itself.
Yeah, just so we can get the counters. Right. Didn't really want to serve in, wanted to leave this white mana up, but definitely wanted to have some counters on his Nexus for that poison game plan.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty powerful plan B, or plan A in some senses, I guess.
I don't really think Ollie drew that untapped land that he needed.
He drew another Valakut.
So he's going to Slagstorm away this Steel Overseer, and just the Overseer. All of BJ Bressler's other creatures aren't actually creatures right now.
Strange how that works.
Yeah. Ollie has a Mountain or a Valakut and a Birds of Paradise.
All right, so Bird comes down. And that'll make sure Ollie can cast that Primeval Titan next turn.
Yep.
All right, BJ draws. I see a Preordain in his hand.
A Dispatch, but he doesn't have blue mana for that Preordain, so that's going to be sitting there for a little bit.
Right.
Just has all these planes and Nexus.
Yeah, I don't know about those main deck Preordains. It's really strange. I mean, it's not.
You're kind of splashing for them, which is really weird.
Yeah.
It feels, I don't know, odd.
All right, well, 2 Steel Overseer.
That's another Steel Overseer.
And it looks like he's going to activate 1 Nexus.
Get in for 3 damage, 2 poison.
Yep, 3 damage, 2 poison. That's how it goes.
Ollie's sitting there, won't get Primeval Titan active for at least another turn, because he only has 2 mountains in play right now. Unless he top decks Harrow or something.
Alright, well, let's see what BJ has. So it looks like his hand is double Solemn.
Ollie has Solemn, Valakut, Solemn, and Primeval Titan.
Alright, well, there's the Titan. So,
Gonna get some mountains, I think,
Yep.
for these 2 in-play Valakutes.
And now,
Soon to be a 3rd.
yeah, Ali is going to have triple Valakut next turn. If
BJ does have the dispatch, though, so I don't think that's going to get very far.
Yeah.
It's going to be a matter of can Ali really, draw... He does have the 2 Solemns,
Right.
but that's still not really going to kill some Inkmoth Nexuses. So can Ali actually get to lethal before BJ does?
Right. I mean, so each of those Valakuts represents 9 damage to BJ's face. If once Ali hits critical
If
mass.
Ali draws a mountain next turn, he does have 18 damage, but it looks like BJ's gonna poison him out or maybe kill him at the same time, double up.
Why go both ways why go one way when you can just go both ways? All right.
So that's Memnite, an Animate of a Glinthawk Idol, and an Inkmoth Nexus.
Yeah, you activate both next out here, right?
He's gonna animate 1 to attack.
Oh, you want to be able to dispatch, right?
Yeah, animate the other to steal Overseer, and then dispatch the Titan.
Yeah.
I think that's his.
I thought BJ might have another land, but he doesn't. So
Ali does have this Birds of Paradise to block, though, so that's gonna make the math interesting in the future.
yep. But BJ just gets in for 3, bringing Ali to 5 poison.
3 poison and 4 damage.
Yep. So Ali gets 8 life and 5 poison. And then there's the dispatch on the Titan. Titan out. The white swords variant kicked up all the way works in BJ's favor.
This is almost a double kill, except for that Birds of Paradise gets in the way.
So it looks like Ali drew a Slag Storm. But that's not going to be good enough.
Oh no, it is exactly. Yeah. It's looking like a double kill. Slagstorm only really kills that Steel Overseer and Memnite again, and it kills the birds, so that would be poison right there if the birds is dead.
Yeah, Ali in a pretty rough spot.
I think he has to play Solemns for Mountains and just go for the face. BJ can't kill him next turn because one of the Nexuses gets blocked down and Ali goes to 8 poison and 4 life from that. So he's still alive, and if he draws, a Titan or Harrow or something like that, that's lethal.
Yeah. All right, might come down to a top deck here. We'll see what trick BJ has up his sleeve.
Yeah.
All right, so Ali gets a mountain.
Yeah, and he doesn't have to kill the Steel Overseer because it only puts the Nexus to 4, which is 1
Right.
short.
All right, well, so yeah, that's going to take BJ down to 11 life off that triple Valakut draw. And now it's all up to almost the top of Ali's deck. I mean, unless BJ has a trick here.
I think BJ might have actually missed 1 poison damage somewhere in here oh, that doesn't matter. The creatures are going to go down instead of the life total.
So it looks like BJ's going down to 17.
Which is still 2 activations, so it doesn't really matter in terms of landfall clock.
Sure. Makes sense. Yeah, I mean, the Overseer wasn't incredibly relevant, but...
Yeah.
All right, let's see.
He's thinking about whether he wants to rebuild a board or just go for the poison.
Okay. Finds the plains. Activates Glinthawk Idol. Activates both of those.
Coming on
Serves in.
over.
Birds on 1 Inkmoth Nexus. And take 3 poison, 4 damage. Dropping to 4 life. Going up to 8 poison. What's on Ali's deck? If Ali has a Singleton Harrow, or a Primeval Titan, or a Green Sun Zenith, he is victorious.
This is the last card of Slash.
It was Primeval Titan.
Yeah.
4/2 mountains. Take 18.
Yep.
And that's going to be it for BJ Bressler.
Yep.
Off the top for Ali Aintrazi, takes down the Tempered Steel player, moving Ali to 2-0 with his Valakut deck.
That was kind of interesting, actually. If he could have also shot the Valakuts at BJ instead of the creatures on the last turn. That puts him to 11. So any landfall trigger that makes that Slagstorm in hand, draw the game.
Sure. Yeah, I don't think killing the creatures was actually that relevant. So
No, not really. But that's kind of an interesting line that, like, if you shoot him, instead of having to top deck to get out of it, you can top deck the Titan, which is still lethal, the Harrow, which is still lethal, Or you can just top deck any red source and just draw the game and move to game 3 of 4.
The other interesting thing you can do too is if you didn't draw that Titan there, you could go Slagstorm creatures, draw 2 cards off my Solemn.
Oh yeah, that's pretty cute.
Yeah.
I didn't think about that.
So, but you didn't have to do that. The Titan was there and waiting in the wings. So Aintrazi moves to 2-0 with his Valakut deck. Ali typically when playing the crazy decks, playing something with blue, Grand Architect, Contagion Class, Contagion Engine. Not this time around.
No, choosing to just go with, you know, good old 6 mana win the game.
Yep, exactly. So it looks like that match finished up pretty fast. We're gonna try and get another match under camera for you if we can. A lot of great feature matches this round, right? There was Jerry was under the camera, Alex Bertini,
Chris Van Meter.
Yeah. So some great players under the camera.
You know what's gonna be interesting is next year, without Valakut, what does Primeval Titan do?
So we were talking about that the other day too. I just want to